guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Elaini, or the Real Elaini, and today we are going to do a video all about me coming back to America and reestablishing, reacclimating back to American life. So I thought this would be a super interesting video because I've never seen anybody do this before, and I honestly kind of wish that I saw something like this before I came back here, because it's a lot harder than you think it is. So I thought this would be a really fun video just for entertainment purposes, if you're just curious on how my experience went, or if you are planning on coming back to America, if you're living abroad right now, or you plan to do a trip or like a living situation abroad at some point soon. So yeah, this is gonna be just my experience. I want to like leave that as a disclaimer. This is not going to be everybody's experience whenever they're in this situation, and I don't want to act like it is. So yeah, this is gonna be my experience on how I acclimated and like reestablished myself back here. And let's go ahead and just like jump into it. I also wanted to give you guys an update on how everything is going. So I started my job a few weeks ago and I'm loving it. I really love it. I've been there for about 2.5 weeks and I really enjoy going to work. I really enjoy learning. I love how much I'm like just jumping straight in and learning so much, and I've already gotten more responsibility because I've been catching things so quickly, and I just really love it. I love the feeling of actually using my brain when I'm at work, and I just think it's so fun, like actually applying what I learned in school like in real life and a real business. So it's really awesome. And if you don't know, I graduated from Oregon State University and I studied accounting there. So I have my bachelor's degree in accounting. So this is my first like actual accounting job at a business. So it was really nice and really fun to actually be doing it, and just applying what I learned in school like in a real job, you know? So it's really awesome. And jumping into the living situation. So if you didn't know, I moved to Korea during the pandemic, like straight in the thick of the pandemic. And I moved to Korea to teach English. So I was there for almost 1.5 years. And now I'm back. If you don't know any of this kind of stuff, you should watch my video that I did before this that was kind of like a life update, everything that happened and everything that's going on. So yeah, now I picked up a job, I got a new car, and I will do a vlog and like show you my car soon. Right now it's in the shop, so it's getting fixed a little bit. So whenever I get it back, I'll do a vlog and I can show you my car. So I have a bunch of stuff written down in this notebook. So if you see me like looking down, that's what I'm looking at. So personally, I'm just gonna kind of like break things down as like piece by piece on what I did or things that I will do to kind of like reacclimate or reestablish myself back here. So I am an American citizen. I was born and raised in America, and even with that, what word would you use? Like, not pleasure, but with that advantage, it still was really hard to come back and like figure everything out. So when you have like a gap in your credit history or a gap in your car insurance, they want to charge you a lot for it. They want to do all these things to help you basically not get it again. So let's start with, yeah, the car and the car insurance. So for a car, I went to CarMax and I got my car there. It was really simple. Like once I had a job, I told them like how much I'd be making, and I put in my social security number so they could pull my credit, and I got my loan amount based on that, and then how much money I put down. So you want to roughly, like when you come back, you want to make sure you have a decent amount of money. If you come back and you don't have any money, it's going to be insanely hard. Okay, so I came back and I put about $5,000 down on my car, and then I got my payments to around $350, which is personally what I wanted. My car was $25,000, and then with all of that plus like my credit score, I was able to get it to around $350 a month. So yeah, it really depends on your credit. The interest rates right now are horrible, and that's just going to be something that you're going to have to deal with regardless of how great your credit is or whatever. So yeah, you want to have roughly between $5,000-$6,000 for just to put a down payment on a car if you don't have one. I sold my car, but before I left it for Korea and everything, so I had to come back and get a new one, and I would have gotten a new one anyway because I didn't really want my car anymore. Bank account. If you don't already have a bank account here, like if you closed it while you were leaving, I kept mine open, thankfully, but also I live in a new place now. My bank is on the West Coast and I live on the East Coast now. So right now it's not a problem, but I think whenever my fiance comes and moves here and we get married and like start sharing an account, I think we're gonna get a new bank. So if that's something you don't have, then you need to get a new bank account, or maybe change it depending on where you're living. But that's something to think about too, just depending on your situation with that. Also for me, I have a West Coast driver's license, so that's something that I have to think about changing, and you need a lot of paperwork for it. So definitely as soon as you get here, if you're like changing your address, do it through USPS pretty quickly, and then you'll get your paperwork for that. And then as long as you have one other piece of mail and then like your social security card or your passport or something like that, you can go and change your license. So that's something I'm going to be doing soon because I did not change my USPS address quick enough. So yeah, I've been waiting a while for that now, but I've only been here for a month and I've already started my job and everything. It's super crazy. But yeah, so that's something you have to think about too, like just depending on if you left from one state and you're coming back to another to live or whatever, then that's something that you're gonna have to think about too. So yeah, that's something that, you know, you might have just not thought about before. A phone plan. So it just like, again, these are all just different scenarios. So for me, my phone plan, I got rid of my phone whenever I left for Korea. Like when I got my Korean number, I deleted my American number, and my dad like took me off my plan and everything, and like he isn't even living in America anymore, so our plan is completely gone now. So whenever I came back, I had to get a phone plan. So let me tell you my experience, just to give you a heads up. So I wanted to be on my own plan because I'm an adult and I'm independent. I don't need to be on like my parents' phone plan or anything like that. Even if I was paying them, I just wanted my own plan. So I went to Verizon. I picked Verizon. Before I had AT&T, but I just wanted to switch to Verizon. So I went to the Verizon store. I tried to get everything done because I have an iPhone and it's unlocked. It's mine. I don't need a new phone or anything. I just needed the SIM card and just needed the service. So I went in and I tried to get it done, but they were like, no, we can't give it to you because something with your address on your license, because I didn't get a new license yet and my license was old and it was in an old place, and I haven't had credit history for a long time because I haven't been here. So they were like, you can do a monthly plan, like a prepaid month plan. And I was like, okay, whatever, like as long as I can just get a SIM card and get out the door, I don't really care. So I did that for a month, and then actually my job is paying for my phone now, but I had to get on a monthly plan and get like an account number and all these things, and then my job can take over my phone plan. So it's a little bit confusing. I have like an extra step there. But regardless, I called them. It took me a while to actually get a real person because, you know, nowadays they love to give you the machine and you're like, can I talk to a real person, please? 000. Okay. So finally I spoke to a real person and they helped me finally have a phone plan, and I set up everything. I just wanted the basic plan because I'm going to be sending it to my job. So I just got a basic plan and now I'm finally on one. So that's how I did it. I just did it over the phone instead of dealing with the people in person, and they gave it to me. So I now have an account number and everything like that I've switched over to my job, like I've said. But regardless, I ended up getting one eventually, but I just had to get on the prepaid and pay 1 month up in advance first before I could get the actual plan. So that's something you might have to think about. You could get on somebody else's plan for a while and then change to your own, or you could do the same thing I did. And the prepaid plan, it was like $65. It was honestly not that bad compared to like some of the plans that they have. So I mean, you could do that if you wanted to monthly, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, that was just something that I had to do, and that was something that I didn't even really, I mean, I didn't think that they wouldn't give me a phone plan, you know? So that was something that was like a little bit of a hurdle to jump over. Okay, a job. So I'm not gonna go in too much depth with this one because I feel like I'm gonna do a whole separate video on it, how I got my job, how I went about, you know, applying, and what I put on my resume, what I put in my cover letters, how I reach out to people, things like that. So, and like how I apply, like where do I apply for these jobs, things like that. So I'm gonna do a whole video on that separately. And I will talk about all of what happened there and how I ended up getting my job now. But a lot of people are hiring right now. I feel like, especially because after COVID, a lot of people kind of quit their jobs, or they don't want to work in an office anymore. So a lot of companies that are wanting like in-office workers are searching for people to work. So right now is a really great time if you're trying to switch careers or change your job or something like that, or if you're coming back relatively soon. I think you're going to be fine with finding a job, especially if you're in a really popular area. I'm in the DMV, like DC metro area, like Maryland, Virginia, DC. So I mean, there's a lot of options here. So if you're in an area where there's a lot of options, you're in a big city, things like that, you'll be fine. Just know your niche, know where you want to work, and know what kind of position you want. Know, like, the biggest thing is knowing what you want and not taking anything less for that. Especially when you have a great resume and you have a lot to offer. Don't let anybody tell you that you need this, this, and this, or what, you know, or you can't have what you actually deserve, because you do. And especially when you work hard, you deserve exactly what you've worked hard for, you know? The website I liked the most to get my jobs was, I used LinkedIn, and I only used LinkedIn. So personally, I would use LinkedIn. If I were you, I would definitely update my profile and just like use a nice picture, put your resume on there, all kinds of stuff, and just apply to as many jobs as possible. You never know what could pop up. So yeah, I'll go more in depth in that with another video, but I also just wanted to tell you guys that that was my little secret, or that was my favorite way to look for jobs. The last thing you would want to consider is an apartment. So for me, I'm living with my grandparents right now, which I'm very grateful for, so I don't have to pay rent or anything like that. But an apartment is something that you would have to think about if you are planning on living on your own. So you would have to make sure that you save up enough money to have money for a down payment. And a lot of apartments nowadays ask you for first and last month rent. So that can be, I mean, and around here, let's say average rent is about $2,000. So you would have to have about $6,000 to $7,000 just to be able to get into an apartment. So that's something that you would have to consider. Plus, you know, furniture or whatever else, it just depends on what you have. But if you don't have anything, I mean, you're going to be spending maybe an extra $2,000 just to furnish your whole place and decorate everything. If you're one person, you need about $5,000 for your car, and then you need about $70 for your phone. You need about $100 for, maybe $115 for your car insurance. And then you need about $10,000 for your home. So yeah, all in total, it's gonna be, you know, $15,000 to $17,000 to come back and reestablish yourself if you don't have a place to stay or a car already, things like that. So if you're completely from scratch coming, then you need close to $20,000 just by yourself. So it really just depends on how you go about stuff, or if you want to buy a car cash for a couple grand, you don't care. I got a little bit of a nicer car, something that will last a little bit longer. And I didn't mind the payments because I have a good salary and everything. But yeah, one thing I didn't talk about is car insurance. Car insurance is a must. You're going to need that. And car insurance companies hate when you have any kind of lapse in your car insurance payments, or just lapse in having car insurance in general, because they think that you're driving around with no insurance. But I did inform them saying that I was out of the country and that I can prove it with my ARC card and with my visa and everything like that. So they were able to kind of like spare me a little bit, because if you have a lapse in your credit or your car insurance payments, blah blah blah, then they'll make your premium go up because they're thinking that you're driving illegally without any insurance. So but I got my plan. My plan's a little bit over $100 a month, which I think is great for full coverage. So that's what I'm doing right now. And so I have about $350 plus $100, so it's roughly about $450, $475 a month for my car, which I don't find to be bad at all because I don't pay for my phone and I don't pay for anything with my house right now. So yeah, it's a really good idea. And then when you come here, I think like saving is just like the best idea, especially right now, since we're going into a recession. Everybody should be saving as much as possible and having as much cash as possible, in my opinion. Those are some of the things that I encountered by coming back here and what it takes to really reestablish yourself and come back to America. So that didn't even include my plane ticket coming back here. My plane ticket was about $1,100 to come back from Korea to Virginia. So yeah, I mean, altogether, I didn't really spend too much, maybe like $7,000, $8,000, which is a lot, but you know, that's just what it takes when you're traveling and living abroad and doing things like that. When I got there, I went to Korea with like $2,000 and I only spent $1,000 before I got paid a month later. So it was a lot cheaper, but coming back to America, I mean, I now have an amazing career and I have amazing job and I got a new car and I'm just in a completely different place in my life. So it was perfect and it was something that I wanted to do and something I was willing to spend this money on. And I'm so grateful that I lived in a place like Korea where I was able to save money and put it towards my future. I still have a great savings and that's something that I'm going to continue doing. But yeah, so yeah, you just want to think about your car insurance, your phone, your house. Just there's a lot of things that you want to think about before you come back, or right when you're coming back and you're starting to realize there's a lot of things going on. So yeah, and those are just some of the things that I thought of. And if you have any more based on things that you've done, leave them down below because I'd love to see and I'd love to hear of anything that I didn't think of. But yeah, I just thought this would be a super interesting video. I thought that everybody would really enjoy it, even if you haven't experienced this before, just because, you know, I just find it interesting. I mean, like if I wasn't even in this situation, I would think that a video like this would be interesting. So yeah, just let me know if you guys thought this was interesting at all. And if you're in a situation like this, let me know if it was helpful. And I'm really going to try and get a video out for you guys once a week. Don't hate on me if it's every other week, like every other week, just because right now I'm trying to get in the groove and everything of working, and I'm starting to try and like work out and just like eating better and like trying to get in this routine of life, you know. So I'm gonna try and do this every single week, and on Sundays at 6 o'clock will always be my posting times, so always look out for my videos at that time. So I will see you guys later. Leave a comment down below any requests that you have or any comments about this video. I would love hearing your guys' feedback. So I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.